Hi kids, it's Miss Penrice again, and we are continuing to look at our eggs. I'm going to have 12 of them all together. We've had 3, and this one, today we're going to do 2, and this one is number 4. I wonder what is in the egg. You know, if I could see you, you could be opening these up and taking the stuff out. Have you seen anything like that before? It's just a little toy thing that shows praying hands. We're going to talk today about Jesus praying and how we need to pray as well. So this story happened on Thursday night, right after the supper. Remember the Passover goblet, the Passover cup? And now it's later on Thursday night. And Jesus is going to give us a great example of how important prayer is. He often went off by himself to talk to God, his Father. Now, this was a very, very difficult time in his life before he was captured. And Jesus asked some of his disciples to go with him, and they went. He was troubled. They went to the Garden of Gethsemane. Gethsemane is just outside the walls of Jerusalem. And I've been to Gethsemane. It's a really nice garden. It has lots of olive trees and it's nice and quiet in there. And Jesus wanted to pray. He was very troubled because he knew he was going to die. Now, he had never sinned, but he was going to die. And when he died on the cross and God placed the sins of all the world on Jesus, God would forsake him. And he knew that he was going to have to experience God turning away from him, and because he must forsake sin. But Jesus was willing to die on the cross. He knew this was his Father's plan. And I think it would be hard to die and have God turn away from you. Jesus was going to pray about it. He was God, but even though he was God, he knew he needed to pray to God, his Father. And that's a good lesson for us too. So Jesus took the 3 of the disciples, to the Garden of Gethsemane, and he went there to pray. And he went off and he prayed. And he told them to watch and pray, and he came back and they fell asleep. Not once, but 3 times. Sometimes we get tired when we try to pray, right? It's hard to be strong when you're tired, isn't it? And Jesus' disciples were weak when they tried to be strong on their own, apart from God. If they weren't depending on God, they were weak. While Jesus cried out to the Father in prayer 3 times, and he came back each time and found the disciples sleeping. And that's a reminder to us that we can't be strong on our own. You know, things are hard. Things are hard right now. It's hard for you to stay inside and stay at your house and not see your friends. But you know that we can pray and God will help us. So let the little praying hands remind you that you can pray too. You can pray for your parents. They're going through hard stuff too right now. You can pray for yourself. You can pray for your teachers. Your teachers at school are having lots of work to do now to get things ready for you. And you can pray for our government, and you can pray for the doctors and nurses and all of the people that we need to pray for. So let's remember about praying. And that is number 4. We're going to go on to number 5. Just after the garden, well, they're still in the garden, actually. We get to number 5. So this is Thursday night or maybe early Friday morning. They didn't get any sleep that night. So here is egg number 5. And in egg number 5, this thing is hard to see, but it's a little piece of leather. And it wouldn't hurt you very much if I did that, would it? No. But you know what? A great big, huge, thick leather strap, a whip, would really hurt if it hit you, right? So here is our story. So at more than any time, these dark and evil days, they were scary and sad for Jesus' followers too, for the disciples. And Judas did bring the priests to the garden, and they arrested Jesus and they brought him before the governor Pilate. Because Jesus was claiming to be God, they said that he was an enemy of Rome and of the King Caesar, and they wanted him to be sentenced to death. The Jewish leaders wanted Jesus to be sentenced to death. Can you believe Pilate did it? He allowed them to put Jesus to death. But before he did, he took a whip, a lot bigger than that one, and he scourged Jesus. That's a Bible word, scourge. And he whipped him with a really thick whip. At any time, Jesus, the Son of God, could have just said, stop. And he's stronger than Pilate, but he did not stop them from doing it. He wanted to do the will of his Father. Have you ever been hit by a skipping rope? No, that's not fun, is it? Well, just imagine, it would be a lot worse. And you know, even hundreds of years before this happened, the prophet Isaiah said, I will give my back to those who strike me. So that tells us that they were whipping Jesus on his back. And Isaiah also said he was pierced for our sins, pierced for our sins. So God allowed his son to be scourged in our place for our sins. Jesus didn't deserve to die. He had never sinned, but we have. And Jesus died in our place for our sin. See you next time.